it's Penny Black and Jill Foster here for your next PB&J card class. And today I'll be doing a couple of cards featuring some of our new floral stamps and painting some mini watercolor scenes. And here's a peek at the set of cards. And I really love these solid, almost like silhouette type stamps for doing this technique. So we'll be making the two cards that are on the left and using the clear transparent sets Flower Sparks, and then the third card uses the set called Sprigs. So to begin, I'm working on Canson 140 pound watercolor paper, and this is a one layer card. So I am first taping off my borders, and I used just regular painter's tape for this. I used a 1.5 inch strip for the bottom and then just 1 inch strips for the sides and the top. I like the focal point image to be just a little bit higher on the background. So once I tape that off, I'm ready to begin my watercoloring, and I'm going to be painting the backgrounds using my Sakura Koi watercolor paints. And I'm just going to mix up some paints on the palette and then also use just water to paint these on. So first I'm painting that entire background piece with water. I want this to be a real light wash in the background, and now I'm picking up the paint colors that I've mixed and applying them to the background. And there's really no particular rhyme or reason to this, except I was thinking more greens for the ground and blues for the sky, and also a little bit of yellow in there to brighten things up. So you can see once I drop that paint in, I really let the water do the work and move it around. I wanted to have a very natural look to the background, not anything too particular or straight lines in the background. Now these paints dry quite a bit lighter. So once it was dry, it looked like that, and I decided to go in and darken things up a little bit. So this time I'm applying the paints and the background is not wet to begin with. So I put the paint down, then I go back in with some water on my brush to blend it in. And in between each of these little clips here, I am drying it with my heat gun. So once that was dry, I'm ready to do my stamping, and this is with the Penny Black Transparent Set Flower Sparks, and I'm inking my stamp using Tombow dual brush pens. So these are great for getting into the details of the stamp, so you can do the stem in one color and even add multiple colors to the flowers. I'm starting with the lighter blue, then going in with the darker blue, and then I'll color the stem. Then I'm going to very lightly mist the stamp with water, and then stamp this onto my background. So I'll press it on, and I kind of hold it there for just a minute to make sure that the wetness from the water on the stamp has time to really seep into the paper before I lift the stamp up. So I'm going to continue to stamp, just using another one of the stamps from that same set. So I love that there's different types of images, but they're all the solid silhouette images, and that there's different sizes of some of the same images. So this one I'm just stamping a couple of times. Because I'm coloring it so quickly, I don't need to worry about misting it with water before I stamp it. And then once that was stamped and dried, I'm going to do a little background stamping. This is our letter background stamp. I use this a lot. I put on tree branch archival ink, remove some of the ink with a baby wipe, and then I'm pressing that onto the background. Now here's my favorite part, just carefully peeling up that painter's tape to reveal that white border around the edge. For the most part, the paint doesn't seep through, although you'll get a few spots that do, but I think that kind of adds to the natural beauty of the card design. And to finish that off, I just mounted it to a white note card using dimensional adhesive. So I thought I'd show you another card using the same technique, but incorporating a few more colors for the stamping. So again, I'm starting by painting the background. I didn't want too much color on my background because I wanted to do more color in the flowers this time. So just a touch of yellow at the top and then a little bit of green near the bottom. And I'm just kind of patting that in and letting the water blend it just like we did before. And then once that's dry, I'm ready to color onto my stamp. So all these stamps are from that same set, the Flower Sparks, and I'm again using the Tombow dual brush pens to color those, then lightly misting and stamping. I've listed the numbers of all the dual brush pens that I've used at the end of the video in the supply list, and that's all the colors that I used for all three cards. Now if you have any areas that don't stamp perfectly, that didn't get misted enough, you can go right back in with your paintbrush and just some water and blend it, or if you want more of a watercolor look to your stamping, you can go in and do that after you stamp it. Now I want to dry that before I stamp the next flower. So once that's dry, I can get my next flower out. Add some color using the dual brush pens. Lightly mist and then stamp. Now if you mist it with more water, you're going to get more of a watercolor look, more blended and less definition. And if you don't mist it or you barely get any water on there, then you're going to get more definition to the stamped image. Something else that would be fun that I didn't do on any of these cards today would be to paint the background and then remove the tape and stamp the flowers, with some of them falling within that painted background and some extending beyond into the white border. So that would be another version of this technique that you could try. And then I just wanted a little subtle stamping on this one, almost the same as the background color, and I'm just adding that in a couple of places. Now I always like to add some splatters, so on my acrylic block I'm just coloring with some of those markers, adding water with my paintbrush and then flicking that onto the background. I thought with these bright colored flowers this almost had would be great for a birthday card, just kind of happy and sprinkled and fun. And then I'm going to add a little bit of background stamping. This is a text stamp from the transparent set called Footnotes. I use this one all the time, and I just ink that with, again, tree branch ink. And then I'm stamping that onto the background in a couple of places. Oops, sorry about that. And then we can peel back the tape to reveal the finished design. And here's a look at the finished card, again just mounted to a note card using dimensional adhesive. Now I did one more card off camera that I wanted to share with you using the same technique, only this time I used a different stamp set. This stamp set is called Sprigs, but it was the exact same technique as the other cards. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe. You can also follow Penny Black on Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, as well as our blog and website. And here's the list of supplies.